What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and we just got the first official trailer for Blue Beetle. I gotta say, it looks pretty awesome, but I'll give my thoughts on it at the end of this video. After we do a full breakdown on the plot of this movie, all of the different characters, the different Blue Beetles that we might actually see in this movie, not just Jaime Reyes, and the two villains that we see so far in this trailer. Now, I'm not sure how well the entire superhero fan base knows Blue Beetle. I've seen a lot of people online already comparing him and the Blue Beetle suit to the Spider-Man Iron Spider suit. And yes, they do have some similarities, but the Blue Beetle suit is actually quite insane. Now, the trailer opens up on our Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, standing in front of a very big house. For a second, you may think it's his, but then they cut to his sister calling him out for not cleaning, revealing that he doesn't indeed own the house, but him and his sister are cleaning the house. Now, the trailer shows us that they are in Palmyra City. This is actually a change from the comics where they're actually in El Paso. Now, they recently created Palmyra City in the DC Comics, so that's the primary reason for this change. I don't think it should affect much of the story, especially since it seems that he is still extremely close with his family. And we see that in the very beginning of the trailer. He's sitting on a rooftop with his sister and she says, "You always land on your feet, bro. You're Jaime." They are staring at Palmyra City, the cityscape that looks very, very awesome. I can't wait to see more of the city. But Jaime's looking at it and he says everything feels so out of reach, showing us that he is dreaming of a life that is much more grand than his own. He's tired of cleaning homes and wants to make it for himself and for his family as well. And we cut to the next scene of him trying to get a job at Cord Industries. His family is there, they dropped him off and they're backing him up, shouting his name, again showing how close him and his family are. Now, Cord Industries is a huge multi-billion-dollar research and development corporation, and they specialize in defense. The CEO of this company is Susan Sarandon's character and one of the villains of the movie, Victoria Cord. And later on, we hear her talking to Jaime, stating that the Scarab chose you, but it belongs to me, foreshadowing her as the villain. Now, at Cord Industries, Jaime is waiting downstairs. We see some other people waiting with him, possibly trying to get the same job or perhaps the same internship opportunity that Jaime is trying to get. However, he can see his friend Jenny, who is going to be the love interest of this film as well, coming down the elevator. It's very clear that she is under distress, people are chasing her, and eventually she sees Jaime and gives him a big belly burger box. Many DC fans probably recognize this from DC's Flash, as it's in there quite a lot. She tells him to guard it with his life, but do not open it. Now, I find it interesting that he doesn't actually open it. This shows his character here because the whole idea of the Blue Beetle is that it chose him. The Scarab chose him, kind of showing us that he is kind of worthy here, that he is a good person. She told him not to open it, and he doesn't open it until his entire family pressures him. Because of course he wouldn't open it. A lot of people were after her, and she said guard it with his life. You gotta know what you're guarding. And this is different than how he originally finds the Scarab in the comics. In the comics, the Scarab was originally given to Dan Garrett, one of the other iterations of Blue Beetle. It eventually made its way to Ted Kord, another iteration of Blue Beetle, but he was never able to use it. Now, eventually he was attacked by Brother Eye, and the Scarab appeared to be working. So he brought it to the wizard Shazam. Eventually, the wizard Shazam would get killed, and the Scarab would be blasted across the earth and end up in El Paso, which is where Jaime Reyes would find it and become the Blue Beetle. So this is a little different than Jaime Reyes' comic origin as the Blue Beetle. But in the trailer, when he finally discovers the Scarab, it immediately latches onto him. One thing I love about this is that his family is present as he gets his powers. You don't see that too much with superhero origins, the family being there right as the hero gets his powers. But family is such a huge part of Jaime Reyes' life. He's basically done.
Salute me, familia. Salute.
Now, when Jaime is holding the Scarab, he says, "I think it likes me." And he's right, because it chooses him, and the whole entire family starts to freak out immediately. Because the Scarab does violently attach itself to the human host, so it literally fuses with Jaime's spine. Then you see the suit take over Jaime's entire body. Once it takes over him, we can see it from his perspective. We can see the technology of the Scarab take over, and the Scarab even talks to him. While it's scanning his family, his uncle, his aunt, the other members, it says target acquired, and he says, "Who said that?" It is actually the Scarab talking to him. This is very similar to Jarvis speaking to Tony Stark or Karen speaking to Spider-Man. Now, the trailer does a very good job at showing us the abilities and powers that the Scarab gives to Jaime. It first shows us that it has the ability of flight as Jaime takes off into the air, having zero control over it at this moment. Now, eventually he meets back up with Jenny and she explains that it's called the Scarab. It's some kind of world-destroying weapon designed to protect its host, and sometimes it does what you want, but sometimes it doesn't. And this is a big part of Jaime Reyes' story with the Scarab in the comics. In the beginning, when he first gets the Scarab, it rarely does what he tells it to do, and most of the time just does what it pleases. But like Jenny says, it is designed to protect its host, so it would only come out when Jaime was in trouble. When he's not in trouble anymore, the Scarab retracts the armored suit and goes back into his spine, which causes Jaime immense pain. We'll have to wait and see if they adapt that into the movie. But the Scarab in the suit is very high powered, and we see a lot of that demonstrated in this trailer. We see the suit launch into space, and we see that the suit has the ability to help him survive in space, giving him oxygen. Then it re-enters the Earth, which means the suit is resilient enough to withstand that Earth re-entry. Then we see the wings bust out, keeping him from hitting the floor, or water in this case, which still would have killed him. The wings also have the ability to protect him and cut through pretty much anything, as we see here in the trailer when he cuts the bus in half. Again, keep in mind the Scarab will protect its host. That is kind of its primary function when attached. The suit can also produce a sword and other blades as well, a shield, energy cannons. It actually has the ability to absorb and sort of neutralize magic. It can discharge kryptonite radiation, and it allows him to see extra dimensional objects, normally not visible to the human eye. But essentially the suit is kind of nanotech. It can shapeshift into practically anything that he can imagine, which we do hear the Scarab tell him towards the end of this trailer. Anything you can imagine, I can create. And here he makes a giant sword, which looks an awfully lot like Cloud's sword from Final Fantasy. Perhaps he plays the game in the movie, and that is where he draws the inspiration from. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it really does look like it. Now, ultimately, Jenny really stole the Scarab from Cord Industries, and eventually, Victoria Cord comes looking for it, as we see many drones and actual soldiers from Cord attack the Reyes family's home. There are some scenes where they look like they attack for the first time. We can see that some of his family members get hurt and the house does get attacked, but then Jaime Reyes shows up and protects his family. Then they decide that they have to leave because him and his whole family is in danger. This is most likely when Jenny comes back, explains what the Scarab is, and decides to get them essentially a secret lair. We see the doors opening up here, showing us Jenny and the rest of the Reyes family behind her. And if you notice in the scene towards the end of the trailer where they're in this lair, there are a couple of other Blue Beetle suits in the back. These are the first and other iterations of the Blue Beetle. We have Dan Garrett, Ted Cord, and Jaime Reyes. And if you look at the right, there's a mannequin that doesn't have a suit on it. And this probably belongs to Ted Cord. And yes, this is the same Cord from Cord Industries, and Ted Cord is actually the brother of Victoria Cord. Now, there is a rumor going around that Jason Sudeikis is going to be playing Ted Cord in the Blue Beetle movie. And the fact that a Blue Beetle suit is missing here does point to the fact that there is another Blue Beetle out there. This could most likely be Ted Cord, who would probably be the original Blue Beetle. Cord Industries probably designed another type of Scarab, which Ted Cord currently has. Now, what's interesting, like I mentioned in the comics, Ted Cord takes the Scarab to the wizard Shazam, who is at the Rock of Eternity, and I think that's what we're actually seeing in this trailer. I think the Reyes family is taking the Blue Beetle ship to the Rock of Eternity that we see in this scene here. And this could quite possibly be where Ted Cord currently is. In the comics, he is good, but Victoria Cord is his sister, so it is possible that he's simply running away and hiding from his sister so he doesn't have to actually fight her. However, I'm sure that he is going to help Jaime Reyes and his family. Now, eventually we see some more troops from Cord go back to the Reyes' house, but now they don't appear to be there. This is because they have their new base set up. It's unclear where this could be, but Jenny knows about it, and it's very high tech, so this could be at the Rock of Eternity, but it also could be somewhere actually inside of Cord. It would be interesting if they were running from Cord, but actually hiding inside of Cord somewhere. Perhaps in a basement, or perhaps in a location that's located away from the office. But in this sort of secret lair, we can see that there are many other weapons that the Blue Beetle can use, like the shield that his sister's holding. We also see what looks to be some sort of utility belt. Jaime says that it's like Batman stuff, and then his uncle calls Batman a fascist. Now in this trailer, we also get a very brief clip of Carapax, another villain of the film, who comes out kind of looking like Kraven the Hunter. But in the comics, he is known as the Indestructible Man, and he has a huge indestructible mechanical suit. And it is most likely that in the movie, Cord Industries, and specifically Victoria Cord, is going to make the suit for him and give it to him so he can go get the Scarab back for her. I think that's probably a big reveal that we'll see in the next trailer, the indestructible mechanical suit worn by Carapax. Now in the trailer, we hear him say that family makes you weak, basically showcasing that family is extremely important to Jaime Reyes, and it shows in this trailer because his family is involved with everything that he is doing, which again, I think is pretty refreshing to see. Most superheroes hide their identities from everyone, and I do like that they are kind of involved in every step of this Blue Beetle journey. And overall, I think the trailer is quite promising actually. James Gunn has praised this movie already, and he has announced that he is indeed going to include Blue Beetle in his new DCU. In fact, when Jaime Reyes originally gets the Scarab in the comics, he is visited by Booster Gold. Booster Gold then recruits him for a mission with Batman and other heroes as well. James Gunn has already announced a Booster Gold project, so it could be possible that that's how they connect Blue Beetle to the new DCU. Overall, I think the trailer shows us that this movie does have the potential to be pretty dang good. Also probably pretty heartfelt with all the family matters that are involved as well. But I gotta say, the suit looks fantastic and the action looks like it's going to be pretty good as well, especially if we are going to get the indestructible mechanical suit worn by Carapax. But let us know what you think about this trailer in the comments down below, and let us know if you are excited for Blue Beetle. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest DCU news. You can always follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.